The research starship Helios Arc slowed as it entered the dusty atmosphere of planet R-47. The planet looked empty and forgotten. Brown clouds covered the sky, and dark mountains cast long shadows across the land. From orbit, the crew had seen the remains of an old mining colony, but they expected only broken buildings and silent machines. Captain Rylan Cross, a calm and focused man, stood at the main window of the bridge. "This place feels wrong," he said softly. "Like it's waiting." Beside him, engineer Lena Ward checked the readings on her tablet. She was smart, curious, and always looking for patterns others missed. "The scanners show no life signs," she said. "But there is energy under the ground. Old, but still active. That should not be possible after all these years." The Helios Arc landed near the mining colony. Dust rose around the landing legs. The air outside was thin and cold. The crew stepped out in their protective suits and looked around. The buildings were partly buried in sand, their metal walls scratched by storms. Everything was quiet, almost too quiet. They walked toward the main mining area, where the old machines still stood like frozen giants. But then, Lena stopped suddenly. "Captain, look at this," she said, pointing ahead. There was a massive underground alloy door, almost hidden under layers of dirt. It was smooth, without handles or hinges, and it glowed with faint blue lines that moved like tiny rivers of light. The door was not part of the human colony. It was far too advanced. Rylan moved closer and touched the surface with his gloved hand. "This isn't ours," he whispered. "This is alien." Lena ran a scanning tool across the surface. "The energy is active," she said. "It's locked by something. And whatever locked it, did it recently." Rylan frowned. "But no one lives here. Who locked it?" Lena shook her head. "I don't know. The door might have locked itself." The idea sounded strange, but the readings supported it. The door had reacted to something, possibly the arrival of the Helios Arc. The crew decided to explore the colony before doing anything with the door. They split into smaller teams, checking buildings and old equipment. Everywhere they went, they noticed something unusual. Doors closed quietly behind them, even when the hinges were rusted. Lights flickered in slow patterns, almost like blinking eyes. Sometimes the ground trembled slightly, as if something deep below was shifting in its sleep. Inside the colony's control center, the air was stale, and dust covered the consoles. Lena wiped off a screen and turned it on. To her surprise, it still worked. She accessed the miners' final logs, hoping to find a reason for the sudden abandonment of the colony. Most logs were normal reports about low resources and equipment issues. But then she found one message marked high priority. It was short and written in a hurry. "If you read this, leave the door alone. It locks for a reason." Lena stared at the message and felt a chill. "Captain, you need to see this," she said. Rylan read the message and exhaled slowly. "They tried to warn someone." But warn about what?" Lena asked. Before Rylan could answer, the lights in the control center dimmed and then brightened again. Something moved in the shadows. Not a creature, but a faint ripple of blue light traveling along the walls. "What was that?" one of the crew asked. Lena shook her head. "I don't know, but it's connected to the door. I'm sure of it." They returned outside and approached the underground door again. Lena wanted to understand how it worked. She connected her scanner and tried to read its mechanism. The door responded by glowing brighter. "It's reacting to me," she said, "like it thinks I'm a threat." "Is it dangerous?" Rylan asked. "I'm not sure, but it feels protective." Lena spoke slowly, searching for the right word. "Like something inside wants to stay locked." "Read." Rylan crossed his arms. "And humans always want to know why." Lena nodded. Curiosity was stronger than caution. She kept scanning the door's energy structure. The glowing lines pulsed steadily, almost like a heartbeat. It reminded her of something alive. While she worked, the ship's pilot, Marcus Hale, called in from the Helios Arc. "Captain, we're getting strange signals from underground. Low-frequency pulses, They matched the timing of the door's glow. Rylan looked at Lena. "Is the door sending signals? Or answering them?" she said. The crew gathered around, studying the door. The ground vibrated again, stronger this time. Dust fell from the rocks above. "This place is waking up," Rylan said. Lena finally disconnected her scanner. "Captain, the door is locked using 5 energy seals. If I study them more, I might unlock the door." "Should we?" Rylan asked. The crew stayed silent. The wind blew across the colony, carrying sand and cold air. No one knew what was behind the door. It could be something valuable, or something dangerous. Lena looked at the glowing lines again. They seemed to pulse faster, as if reacting to her thoughts. "I think the door doesn't want to be opened," she said softly. "But we can't ignore a discovery like this," Rylan replied. "The miners must have found something important, and we need answers." Lena looked uneasy but nodded. She had always trusted her captain, and she also understood the human desire to uncover the unknown. She stepped closer to the door and placed her palm on the glowing surface. The light under her hand flickered, then steadied. Her scanner beeped several times. "I found the first lock," she said. "It's an energy pattern. I can break it." Rylan took a deep breath. "Do it." Lena pressed a sequence on her device. The glowing veins on the door rearranged themselves, twisting and shifting like living threads. Then, with a deep metallic sound, the first lock disengaged. A shockwave traveled through the ground. The colony lights flickered wildly. The faint hum rising from below grew louder, almost like something waking from a long sleep. Lena stepped back, alarmed. "Captain, something just changed underground." Rylan looked at the door. "We just woke whatever is down there." The ground shook again, and the door's glow pulsed like an eye-opening. The ground under the mining colony shook for several long seconds. Dust rose from old buildings. Loose cables swung from metal beams. The Helios Arc crew stood silently, staring at the glowing underground door. It now pulsed with a faster rhythm, almost like it had a heartbeat of its own. Engineer Lena Ward stepped back, breathing slowly as she tried to understand what her scanner was showing. "The energy level doubled," she said. "Whatever is below us is awake now." Captain Rylan Cross looked at her with concern. "We opened only one lock," he said. "What happens when more unlock?" Lena shook her head. "I don't know. But something didn't like what we did." The wind moved across the empty colony, whispering through broken metal frames. But beneath the sound of the wind, there was something else. Something soft, low, and constant. A hum. It came from deep underground. The first signs. The crew returned to the colony's main square, where the buildings formed a ring around the underground door. They checked their equipment, trying to understand the sudden power surge. The Helios Arc pilot, Marcus Hale, came running toward them from the ship. "Captain," the starship's sensors picked up a signal from below the colony. "It's repeating every few seconds." "A message?" Rylan asked. "Not sure," Marcus said. "It's more like a pulse, like a warning, or maybe a call." The idea made Lena uneasy. Something down there is sending signals now. It wasn't doing that before. As they stood together, a small metallic drone lying on the ground turned on by itself. Its blue lights blinked weakly, and then it rolled a few centimeters away from the alien door. Rylan frowned. "Did you activate that drone?" "No," Lena said. "I didn't touch it." The drone rolled again, slowly, as if something invisible was pulling it. A second drone followed. One by one, the old mining drones powered up with faint sparks and rolled away from the underground door. "It's like they're scared," Marcus whispered. "Machines didn't fear anything, but these ones behaved as if they did." The underground files. The team returned to the mining colony's control center, hoping the archived data might explain what the miners had found years ago. Lena powered up the central console, and more old screens slowly flickered to life. Dust swirled in the cold air as the room brightened. She opened the encrypted folder she found earlier. This time, new logs appeared. Files that hadn't been visible before. Almost as if the system wanted to show them now. Rylan read the first one aloud. "We found something under level 9. A chamber made of alloy we cannot cut. Machines wake when we get close. The air vibrates. We hear humming. Another entry said, there is a sphere inside the chamber. Not metal, not flesh. It reacts to us. Then, the final entry. We failed to keep everything stable. We sealed the door. If someone comes later, do not open it. Do not wake it. Lena sat back slowly. The miners discovered an alien chamber. And something inside it. Rylan nodded. Something the door was made to keep inside. The lights flickered again, and a soft blue ripple traveled through the control center wall, just like before. It wasn't random. It moved with purpose. Following Lena's hand as she reached toward the console. Is that alive? Marcus asked. No, Lena said quietly. But it's aware. Something is using the colony's systems to watch us. The quiet machine. Later that night cycle, the crew gathered near the underground door once more. Lena wanted to scan it again, even though everything inside her told her not to. When she placed her scanner against the smooth surface, the glowing veins shifted, forming new shapes, circles, lines, almost like symbols. What does that mean? Rylan asked. It's communicating, Lena said, or reacting to my presence. She connected her scanner to a wider frequency range. For a moment, everything was silent. Then the scanner picked up something strange. It looked like a pattern. Not a voice. But not random either. Captain, Lena said slowly. There's something under the door. A structure. A central system. It's huge. Another building? Rylan asked. No, she said. It's something else. My readings show complex circuits, but also organic shapes. It's like a living machine. Marcus stepped forward. Are you saying it's alive? I don't know, Lena answered. But I think the miners called it the quiet machine in their logs. Rylan looked at the glowing door again. And it's awake. The ground vibrated softly. The hum grew louder. And the glowing lines brightened for a moment, as if the door itself reacted to the conversation. Strange phenomena. After several hours of study, the crew prepared to return to the Helios Ark. But before they could leave, the colony reacted again. The lights across the buildings turned on, every single one at the exact same moment. Someone is controlling the power grid, Marcus said. Not someone, Lena whispered. Something. Doors around the colony opened and closed by themselves. A cold breeze moved through the air, even though the wind outside was calm. The hum shifted into a faint melody, like tones played in perfect harmony. Captain, Lena said, the energy is gathering under the ground. It's rising. Why? Rylan asked. I think it wants to push us away, she said. Like it's trying to protect something. Or protect us. The idea felt strange. Yet it made a strange kind of sense. The machines moving away. The warning messages. The quiet humming. None of it felt hostile. It felt like a request, a warning, a plea. One more step forward. Back on the Helios Ark, Rylan stood with Lena in the engineering bay. She spread out the readings she collected from the door. There are 5 locks, she explained again. All powered by the quiet machine. I broke one. The others woke up when it sensed danger. Rylan crossed his arms. Can you open more? Lena nodded. Yes. But I don't know what will happen if we do. Marcus entered the room, looking uneasy. Captain, the underground pulses match what Lena said. They increase every time we get closer to the door. It's reacting to us. Rylan looked at the readings again. His face was steady, but his voice was firm. If something dangerous is behind that door, we need to understand it. And if something needs help, we can't leave it trapped. Lena stared at her scanner. The glowing lines formed a pattern again, almost like an eye watching her. I'll unlock the second seal, she said. The second lock. They returned to the door. The hum became louder as they approached. Like a warning heartbeat. Lena touched the door, and the glowing symbols moved under her palm. She entered a sequence on her device. The veins twisted, brightened, then shifted. A deep vibration rolled through the ground. With a heavy sound, the second lock disengaged. The hum turned into a rising tone. Something beneath the colony fully woke, and the air around them changed as if something behind the door had just taken its first breath in centuries. The moment the second lock disengaged, the entire mining colony reacted. The ground trembled with a long, deep vibration that felt almost like a warning. Small stones rolled across the dusty floor. Old metal beams shook softly, making hollow echoes across the empty buildings. Engineer Lena Ward held her scanner tightly. "Captain, the energy below us just spiked. It's rising fast." Captain Rylan Cross watched the glowing underground door. The blue veins along its surface now pulsed in an urgent rhythm, faster than before, almost like a creature breathing quickly. Pilot Marcus Hale stepped back from the door. "It feels like something is pushing against it from the inside." Lena nodded. "The quiet machine is awake now, and it's doing something we don't understand." Rylan looked around the silent colony. Even though the wind had died down, the air felt alive, as if the entire place was holding its breath. "The system takes control." The Helios Arc crew returned to the colony's control center. As they approached the building, the doors slid open automatically, though no power source should have been active. "That wasn't us," Lena said quietly. When they stepped inside, the lights turned on, one row after another, like someone preparing the room for them. The screens on the wall flickered. Then every console lit up with bright blue patterns. "What's controlling them?" Marcus asked. Before Lena could answer, a message appeared on every screen at once. "Local network priority has been assumed by external intelligence." The crew froze. "External intelligence?" Rylan repeated. "You mean the quiet machine?" Lena nodded slowly. "It has taken over the entire colony network. It might even be touching our ship's systems." Marcus frowned. Why would it do that? Lena didn't know. But her scanner picked up another signal, deeper, stronger, older. "It wants to communicate," she said softly. "Or it wants us to hear something." The lights dimmed. The consoles flickered. Then a soft, layered voice came through the colony speakers. It wasn't a human voice, but it wasn't harsh either. It sounded calm and distant, like someone speaking through water. "Do not unlock the door." The crew stared at the ceiling speakers. Marcus whispered, "Is it talking to us?" Lena swallowed. "Yes." The voice continued. "The door must stay closed. The chamber must remain sealed. It is not safe." Rylan stepped closer to the console. "Why? What are you keeping inside?" There was a moment of silence. Then the voice answered, "A mistake. A creation without control. A being of patterns and hunger." The crew exchanged uneasy looks. "The history of the chamber." Lena steadied her voice. "What is inside the chamber?" "We saw logs from the miners saying something reacted to them." The voice spoke slowly, as if remembering something ancient. "The entity inside the chamber was made by a race older than your species. They wanted a perfect guardian, something that could protect worlds. But it became something else. Something dangerous." The lights flickered again. The blue glow along the walls rippled like water. "It feeds on order," the voice continued. "On energy, on systems, on thought patterns. It grows stronger by consuming structure. It spreads inside machines, inside signals, inside anything built with logic." Marcus felt a chill run down his spine. "So, it's like an energy parasite?" Lena shook her head. "More like a thinking virus." The voice spoke again, quieter now. "The quiet machine was built to hold it forever. The miners found the chamber and disturbed the seals. They relocked the door, but could not repair the containment." Rylan took a step back. "So the door locked itself because the thing inside is dangerous?" "Yes." Lena stared at the glowing door through the window. "Then why did unlocking the second seal wake you up?" "Because now the chamber is unstable. The entity is pushing against the containment fields. Your actions have weakened the locks further. It is almost free." The whole room felt colder. "A hard truth." Rylan ran a hand across his forehead. "So what can we do? Leave?" The voice answered immediately. If you leave, the entity will eventually escape. When it escapes, it will consume technology across your galaxy. Your species will not survive. Silence filled the control center. The hum from the underground grew louder. A steady, threatening vibration. Marcus clenched his fists. So we're trapped? No, Lena said. It's telling us something. The voice continued. You have two choices. You may flee this place and save yourselves, or you may open the door fully and destroy the entity while it remains weak. Ryland stared at the glowing symbols on the consoles. Open the door? That's exactly what you told us not to do. Opening the door is dangerous, the voice said, but leaving it sealed is worse. Humans woke the entity. Humans must finish what they began. Marcus felt his heart pound. It wants us to go inside the chamber? Lena exhaled slowly. Yes, but it's giving us a chance. That means it believes we might succeed. The voice softened, almost like a whisper. Your species is unpredictable. You do what logic cannot. That is why you may succeed where others failed. The ground trembled again, stronger this time. The blue lines on the underground door flashed in rapid pulses. The quiet machine's warning. The crew rushed outside. The door was glowing so brightly it hurt their eyes. The hum from below had turned into a rising tone, like metal bending under pressure. Lena scanned it. Her face tightened. Captain, the entity is pushing harder. The quiet machine is losing control. Ryland looked at the others. If that chamber breaks open by itself, we're finished. Marcus stared at the glowing surface. So what do? We open the door before it does? Lena's hands shook, but she nodded. It's the only chance. Inside the chamber, maybe we can find a weakness, something the quiet machine couldn't do alone. The lights of the colony flickered again. The voice spoke one last time. If you choose to enter, I will open a path. But you must hurry. The containment will not last. Ryland took a deep breath. We're humans. We don't run from problems. He turned to Lena. Prepare to unlock the third seal. She swallowed hard but stepped toward the door. The hum grew louder. The ground shook harder. And the glowing blue veins twisted into new shapes, almost like they were bracing for what was about to come. Lena lifted her scanner. They were about to open the path to something the universe had tried to hide. The ground trembled under the Helios Arc crew's feet as they approached the underground door. The blue veins pulsed faster than ever, sending flickering light across the dusty buildings of the abandoned colony. Every building seemed alive now, moving subtly as though watching them, warning them. Engineer Lena Ward gripped her scanner tightly. Captain, the energy below has reached dangerous levels. The entity is pushing harder than before. Captain Ryland Cross glanced at the glowing door. We don't have a choice. If we wait, the containment will fail on its own. Pilot Marcus Hale swallowed. You really think we can survive what's inside? Ryland's voice was steady. If anyone can, it's humans. We don't survive by following patterns. We survive by thinking, adapting, by not being predictable. Lena nodded, even though fear tightened her chest. The door seemed almost alive now, shaking slightly with each pulse. Entering the chamber, the team worked quickly. Lena unlocked the third and fourth seals while Ryland and Marcus monitored the vibrations around the colony. Each lock they disabled caused the pulsing to intensify. The door itself seemed to resist, almost like it didn't want them inside. Finally, Lena approached the last lock. Her scanner's screen flashed wildly, warning her the energy could overload at any moment. She pressed the final sequence. With a loud, metallic groan, the underground door slid open. A wave of cool, electric air blew out of the chamber. The hum from beneath rose to a deep, vibrating roar. Inside, the crew saw a massive chamber, vast and circular. At its center hovered a shimmering sphere of light, constantly shifting colors and patterns. It was impossible to tell where it began or ended. The entity reacted instantly. The patterns inside the sphere moved, stretching outward like tentacles made of energy. The walls of the chamber rippled, as if the building itself were bending under its influence. Lena whispered, It's alive, or at least thinking. Marcus swallowed hard. And it's huge. Rylan stepped forward. Remember what the voice said. It feeds on order, structure, and patterns. That's its weakness, the entity's test. As they entered the chamber, the sphere pulsed in bright waves. The energy reacted to movement, to thought, and even to emotions. Suddenly, visions appeared around them, memories from their past, fears, doubts. Marcus saw his family in danger. Lena saw a lab fire she had once caused by mistake. Rylan saw himself alone, failing everyone. The sphere's voice echoed in their minds, not loud, but undeniable. You should not be here. Leave now, or be consumed. Lena shook her head. It's testing us. It wants to find patterns in our minds. Rylan spoke firmly. Humans are unpredictable. That's what we have going for us. He motioned to Lena. We need to act, not think like it thinks. Turning chaos into strength, Lena scanned the chamber, looking for anything she could use to disrupt the entity. The quiet machine's energy lines still ran through the floor and walls, but the containment field was breaking. She realized something important. The entity thrived on order, not chaos. If she could generate purely random energy spikes, it might confuse and weaken it. We need to create a device that is chaotic, Lena explained. No patterns, just random pulses. It will overload the entity. Marcus nodded. We can use the remaining mining tech. Mix power sources randomly. They worked together, combining old alien circuits with human improvisation. Wires crisscrossed the chamber, energy sparks flew, and the sphere pulsed angrily in response. It tried to anticipate their moves, but humans did something no structured machine could predict. They improvised, made mistakes, and kept moving. Finally, Lena connected the last wire. The chaotic energy device activated. Random pulses shot through the chamber, bouncing off the walls, filling the space with unpredictable light and sound. The sphere shrieked silently. The patterns inside it fractured, twisting and writhing as if in pain. The energy waves crashed into each other, destabilizing the entity. The final confrontation, the hum from the chamber reached a deafening crescendo. The ground shook violently. Beams cracked. Dust fell in sheets from the ceiling. Rylan shouted over the noise, "Keep it running! Don't let it stabilize!" The entity tried to lash out, extending its energy like fingers toward them. Marcus barely dodged one of the tendrils, feeling the heat of raw power. Lena continued to feed random energy pulses, her hands shaking but precise. Slowly, almost imperceptibly, the sphere began to shrink. The colors inside fractured into tiny sparks. The walls stopped bending. The chamber returned to a calm, empty circle, and then the sphere collapsed completely. Silence. The chamber felt lighter. The glowing lines of the quiet machine dimmed and became stable again. The threat was gone. Lena exhaled deeply. It's over. Rylan wiped sweat from his brow. The quiet machine is stable. The entity is gone. We did it. Marcus smiled shakily. Humans do survive, even the impossible. Aftermath. The crew left the chamber carefully. The underground door no longer glowed. It had locked itself one final time. Not as a warning, but as a sign that its purpose was complete. The colony felt calm again. The air was still. The hum was gone. For the first time in centuries, the abandoned mining colony was at peace. Lena looked at the door one last time. Maybe it wasn't locking us out all along. Maybe it was waiting for us to do what it could not. Rylan nodded. Humans don't turn away from the unknown. We adapt, we survive, and sometimes we succeed where no one else can. Marcus added, and sometimes the universe is surprised by that. The crew returned to the Helios Ark. As the starship lifted from the dusty surface of planet R-47, the colony shrank below them, silent and still. The glowing door became just another part of the landscape, but in the hearts of the crew, it would never be forgotten. Lena stared at the planet one last time. We faced something older and wiser than us. And we won. That's what being human is all about. Ryland smiled faintly. And someday, the universe will learn that too. The Helios arc soared into the stars, leaving the quiet, sleeping planet behind. The door was still there, but now it was at peace, and the humans who had faced it were stronger, braver, and wiser than before. The story ends with the humans surviving the impossible. The quiet machine stabilized, and the crew carrying with them the knowledge that curiosity, courage, and unpredictability are what make humanity powerful.